Did you know the most valuable car you can own right now isn't on a dealership lot? It's in your driveway. Paid off, 300,000 miles on the odometer, $45,000. That's what a new Camry costs now. CVTs are failing across entire lineups. Turbo engines need a dealer laptop just to read a sensor code. Meanwhile, your old Corolla, Celica, Tacoma, or 4Runner just keeps starting. Every single morning. No drama, no warning light. You can't fix yourself with a wrench in 20 minutes. The old Toyota everyone told you to trade in just became the smartest car you can own. A loaded 2026 Highlander Platinum stickers at $61,400. Before fees, not a luxury vehicle, not a performance machine. A family SUV with a CVT, cloth-adjacent seats, and a screen the size of a laptop bolted to the dash. A vehicle that was supposed to haul groceries and kids to soccer practice. Nothing more. Step down to the base LE. Cloth seats. Nothing fancy. Still $38,000. Want a RAV4 instead? The Limited runs $39,000. The bare bones LE, no leather, no panoramic roof, still clears $30,000 before tax, title, and the dealer's market adjustment sticker nobody asked for. Now rewind a few decades. Mid-1990s, a fully loaded Camry XLE cost around $22,000 out the door. Adjust for inflation, you land near $45,000 today. A brand new mid-trim Camry now runs past that number before you've added a single option. Smaller engine, a CVT instead of real gears, a dashboard that needs a software update just to function correctly. Toyota's own lineup isn't exempt. A 4Runner TRD Pro starts above $65,000. A Tacoma with the Turbo 4 and the hybrid system clears $55,000 loaded. Even the Lexus ES, the sensible choice, opens north of $44,000 before a single option is checked. So what does that mean for the Corolla in your driveway? The Tercel, the Celica, the Matrix with the fading paint. It means it's worth more than you've been told. A lot more. Take the Tercel. 20 years ago, people called it disposable. Cheap transportation, nothing worth keeping. Today, a clean one with documented maintenance is harder to find than the dealership's entire new car inventory, and buyers are paying real money for it. Same with the Celica. The Matrix and its twin, the Pontiac Vibe, share the Corolla's bones, and that bulletproof reputation followed them straight into a market that can't get enough of them now. Collectors know it, mechanics know it. Quietly, even regular buyers are starting to figure it out. Here's what the dealership never puts on the window sticker. The moment you sign the papers, you lose roughly 20% of the car's value, instantly. On a $40,000 SUV, that's $8,000 gone before your first payment. Gone, for the privilege of being the first person in the seat. It doesn't stop there. Year 1, it drops further. Year 3, on many loans, you owe more than the car is worth. The finance industry calls that underwater. Most buyers don't notice until they try to trade in and the numbers simply don't add up. Run the math. Finance that SUV at current rates over 72 months. By year 3, you've paid down maybe $18,000 in principal, while the truck itself has dropped to roughly $22,000 in trade value. You're not behind by a little. You're behind by thousands. On time, every payment, every month, doing exactly what the loan agreement asked of you and still losing ground. Now flip it. A clean 2008 Camry, a well-kept Corolla from the early 2010s, a Tacoma with 200,000 miles, and a fresh timing belt. These cars already absorbed their depreciation hit years ago, took the punch back when gas was cheap and nobody was watching. What's left now is stable value, real value, the kind that doesn't evaporate the second you leave the lot, the kind that doesn't care what the news says about chip shortages or interest rates next quarter. There are people who bought a clean 2006 Corolla 8 years ago for $4,000. That same car, reasonable mileage, real maintenance history, sells today for $6,000, sometimes $7,000. Not nostalgia, appreciation. A car that gained value while a new one down the street lost thousands before its first oil change, before its first service appointment, before the new owner even had time to break in the seats. Buy new, the bank owns you for 5, 6, 7 years. Longer once you roll in negative equity from the last trade-in. Buy an old Toyota outright. You own it the day you hand over the cash. Free and clear, no payment, no interest, no monthly reminder of a decision you can't undo. Financing a depreciating asset versus owning an appreciating one. That's the entire game, and almost nobody explains it that way. Not the dealership. Not the finance manager smiling across the desk. Not the commercial telling you to lease something newer every 3 years. Add up 5 years, and the gap gets harder to ignore. The new car buyer has handed the bank tens of thousands in interest alone, on top of depreciation, on top of insurance that's higher simply because the car costs more to replace, on top of a registration fee calculated off a sticker price that was already inflated to begin with. The old Toyota owner has handed nobody anything beyond gas, oil changes, and the occasional part that costs less than a tank of fuel. But the financial case is only half the story. The other half is showing up in service bays right now, and it should worry anyone who just signed a 6-year loan on a car with a transmission that has no gears in it at all. CVTs are failing well before the 100,000-mile mark across several mainstream brands, some far earlier. One manufacturer has quietly extended transmission warranty coverage twice in 5 years, which tells you everything about how confident they actually are in the part. Independent shops are quoting CVT replacements between $4,000 and $6,000 on cars barely 5 years old, still being financed every month. Turbocharged 4-cylinders, sold as the efficient future, are showing carbon buildup and stretch timing chains at mileages where an old Toyota 4-cylinder was just getting started. Meanwhile, the engines under those old Camrys, Corollas, and 4Runners were built during an era when Toyota's entire reputation rested on one promise. The car would still run long after everyone expected it to die, long after the warranty expired, long after the original owner had sold it 3 times over. That promise is exactly what comes next. That promise wasn't an accident, it was a philosophy. The 2.4-liter 4-cylinder in a 2007 Camry, the 3.4-liter V6 that powered millions of 4Runners and Tacomas through the late 90s and early 2000s. The legendary 22RE, some shops still swear it could survive a direct meteor strike and keep idling afterward, overbuilt on purpose. The Lexus ES ran that same Toyota V6, wrapped in a quieter cabin, sold at a premium, but underneath it was the same philosophy of margin over optimization. No turbo spooling stress onto every cylinder. No CVT pretending to have gears it doesn't actually have. Just iron, steel, and enough mechanical margin that routine neglect rarely killed them, no matter how many oil changes got skipped along the way. Compare that to dealership service bays right now, where service writers quietly admit certain models are becoming notorious among their own technicians. Several mainstream automakers face class action lawsuits over CVT failures showing up well inside the original warranty period, let alone after it expires. One manufacturer has quietly extended transmission warranty coverage twice in 5 years. That tells you absolutely everything about how confident they actually are in the part. Independent shops quote CVT replacements between $4,000 and $6,000 on cars barely 5 years old, still being financed every month. Turbocharged engines, marketed as the fuel-efficient future, are coming back with carbon-fouled intake valves and stretched timing chains at mileages where an old Toyota 4-cylinder was just getting started. Ask any independent mechanic which cars they actually want to work on these days. Same answer every time. The old ones. Not sentiment. Plain sense. A problem has a cause. The cause has a part. The part has a price. And the price is usually under $200. Shops that specialize in older Toyotas have waiting lists now. sometimes weeks out just for a routine appointment that used to be same day. Shops chasing the newest software-locked models are turning customers away. They can't afford the diagnostic equipment it takes just to start, let alone keep current with every manufacturer's proprietary update. If this is useful, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep digging into the cars actually worth owning, not the ones the marketing department wants you chasing this quarter. Now pop the hood on each. On a new turbocharged crossover, a plastic cover snapped over everything, a maze of wiring harnesses, a turbocharger tucked somewhere you can't reach without a lift, an emission system layered 3 components deep just to pass inspection. Finding the oil filter sometimes means pulling a skid plate first. The dipstick itself might be electronic now, reporting an estimated level on a screen instead of letting you check it with your own hands, the way drivers have for 100 years. Pop the hood on a 2009 Corolla, a 2010 Tacoma, an early 2000s 4Runner. You see an engine, plain and simple, the alternator's right there. The belts are visible, the dipstick has a bright yellow handle you can find with your eyes closed. Built on the assumption that a person, not just a dealership technician with proprietary software, might actually want to open the hood and fix something themselves on a Sunday afternoon without anyone's permission. That difference shows up the moment something breaks. A starter on an old Corolla, about $90, 40 minutes, basic hand tools, done in the driveway before lunch. A water pump on an old 4Runner, a Saturday afternoon and a socket set, maybe a YouTube tutorial pulled up on a phone propped against the fender for reference. An alternator on a Tacoma from the early 2000s, rarely past $150, done in a driveway on a Sunday with nothing more than a jack and a basic socket set. Compare that to a new vehicle where the check engine light comes on for a sensor fault. And step 1 isn't diagnosis. It's a dealer-only scan tool costing thousands. Tools most independent shops simply can't justify owning for 1 or 2 customers a year. Some new vehicles require a factory reset through manufacturer software only, just to clear a code after a simple part swap. Skip it, and the light comes right back even though the actual problem's fixed and the part is sitting there working exactly as it should. Replace a battery on certain new models and the car won't even relearn its own electrical settings without a dealer connecting it to the network first. A task that used to take 5 minutes with a wrench and now takes an appointment. You didn't buy a car, you bought a system, and the system answers to the manufacturer first, you a distant second. Then the dashboard. Open a new SUV's door and you're greeted by one sheet of glass running climate, radio, drive modes, and half the safety settings, all buried in menus that pull your eyes off the road. When that screen glitches, and they do, often within the first few years, you can't fix it with a screwdriver. You need an update, a dealer visit, sometimes a full module swap, costing more than some of these old Toyotas cost to buy outright. Some owners have lost climate control entirely in freezing weather because an overnight software update failed to install correctly, with the only fix being an appointment days out. An old Camry's dashboard has actual knobs. Heat up, gloves on, no looking down. Radio station, by feel, eyes on the road the entire time. Nothing on it needs a firmware update. Nothing on it has ever bricked itself overnight after a bad patch hit thousands of vehicles at once, leaving owners stranded with a frozen screen and no climate control until the dealer could squeeze them in. There's something else happening underneath all this complexity, something most new car buyers haven't fully clocked yet. It has nothing to do with engines or transmissions at all. It has everything to do with what these vehicles are quietly doing. Every single time you turn the key, whether you're paying attention to it or not, modern vehicles are connected constantly in ways most owners never fully signed up for. Built-in cellular modules sit in the background, logging how fast you accelerate, how hard you brake, where you drive, how often, what time of day. Some systems log dozens of data points every second the engine runs. whether you know it or not, whether you ever read the fine print buried in the purchase agreement, whether anyone explained it to you at the dealership at all. In most cases, you can't fully shut it off. It's wired in at the factory, bundled into the same module that runs navigation and roadside assistance, so killing one means killing all of it. That data doesn't just sit somewhere doing nothing. Insurance companies can request it, sometimes as the price of a slightly lower premium. Manufacturers pull it for warranty disputes, for internal quality reviews, for the occasional lawsuit they're trying to get ahead of before it reaches a courtroom. And it's already been used in ways that sound like fiction. There's a documented pattern. An owner takes a new truck or SUV off-road, exactly what the commercial showed, exactly what it was sold for. Something breaks. They file a claim. The manufacturer pulls the vehicle's own data, flags aggressive driving, denies the claim. The truck did exactly what it was marketed to do, and data nobody ever opted out of became the reason the repair wasn't covered. Another driver in an accident found the manufacturer's own black box data used against them in an insurance dispute months later. Braking force, exact speed, details they never knew were being logged that closely, let alone stored indefinitely, and handed to a third party on request without so much as a notification. An old Corolla, an old 4Runner, an old Camry, none of that. No cellular connection reporting your location. No background log of every hard stop. No silent record waiting to be pulled against you later. It doesn't know where you are. Doesn't care. Can't be subpoenaed. Can't be sold to a data broker. Can't be quietly updated overnight to start logging something it never logged before. In a world where almost everything gets tracked and monetized eventually, mechanical privacy has quietly become rare, and rare things tend to become valuable. Sometimes the clearest way to see a big problem is one small detail instead of the whole machine at once. Take the key. An old Toyota key is cut metal. Lose it. A locksmith cuts a new one for $20 in the parking lot. No appointment, no wait. A new vehicle's key is a program module tied to the car's computer. Replacing a lost one can run several $100s, sometimes a tow, because only dealer equipment can pair it to the immobilizer. Some owners wait days because the local dealership didn't have the right module in stock, stranded in their own driveway over a piece of plastic and a chip. One object, sitting in your pocket, it tells you everything about which philosophy actually respects the person holding it. Meanwhile, new car sales are starting to slow across several segments. Inventory sits longer, months instead of weeks. Incentives and rebates are rolling out to move vehicles that would have sold in days 2 or 3 years ago. Loan terms keep stretching, 72 months, 84 in some cases, just to keep the payment looking survivable on paper while the principal barely moves. The market is sending a signal. Buyers are starting to do the math themselves, what they'd actually owe in 5 years against what a clean used Toyota costs outright today. No payment, no interest, no surprises. The manufacturer spent years convincing everyone that newer meant better, that more screens meant more value, that complexity was progress. For a while it worked, partly because the alternative, fixing your own car, keeping it 15 years, paying nothing in interest, never got marketed on a single commercial, never got a 30-second spot during the game. But the cracks are showing now, literally, in transmission failures, engine recalls, warranty denials built on data nobody agreed to share in the first place. Your old Toyota isn't something to apologize for, not a project you're putting off, not a car you're embarrassed to park next to something newer in front of the neighbors. It's an asset, the kind that holds its value, starts every morning without complaint, and doesn't quietly report your weekend plans to a server farm 1,000 miles away. The manufacturers played a long game. Dependency, built in layer by layer, screen by screen, until owning a car started feeling like a subscription instead of a purchase. Monthly fees for features that used to come standard, updates required just to keep basic functions working, a relationship with the manufacturer that never actually ends the day you sign the title. For a long time, the strategy worked exactly as intended, but the old ones are still out there. Still starting on the first try in freezing weather and triple-digit heat alike. Still hauling, commuting, running errands on 300,000 miles, and a fresh set of spark plugs. The original owner's manual still tucked in the glove box, where it's lived for 2 decades. The original floor mats worn through but never replaced, because why would you? Keep the oil changed, keep the rust at bay, and they keep right on winning, long after the newer competition's been junked for parts, traded in early, or written off by an insurer that pulled the wrong data at the wrong time. The old Toyota everyone told you to trade in just became the smartest car you could possibly own. Drop a comment. Tell us your Toyota's current mileage and which model it is. Camry, Corolla, Tacoma, 4Runner, Celica. Whatever's still running in your driveway, paid off, parts available, going strong. We want the real numbers from real owners. And if this helped you see your own car differently, hit like, subscribe for more of these breakdowns, and let's keep these old Toyotas running for another 300,000 miles together.